my head. She lived in London and was visiting relatives in India. He owned a furniture shop in Colaba. He was related to the Firwanis. She knew them slightly. She stepped in. The man suddenly turned and confronted me, his high eyes red as pomegranate. I've just fallen in love with her, he burbled, pointing in the direction of the toilet. Do you think she loves me? Stupefied, I glared at him. I mean, as a woman, what do you think would be her feelings? Could he be serious? The man's face was brick red. A whirl of black hair hung over his head. His eyes had a crazed look in them. And he was even smiling. I stomped out of his sight and slipped back into the throbbing pub. Preeti was still swaying in a frenzy, with Brian sticking to her.
No, I want to know
the
writer feels that the last line.
Yes, it was. There was absolutely nothing to fear. But this is madness, Preeti. You're walking on quicksand, I commented at length, knowing I was flogging a dead horse, but still considering it my duty to make a sincere attempt to pull my childhood chum out of the waters before she sank completely. Preeti raved and accused me of being unable to see different perspectives. I stared at the sky outside her bedroom window. Preeti would celebrate her 29th birthday in a rocking pub, and not with a simple dinner party in a sassy restaurant, as she had usually done. I swallowed this blip without reacting. The seriousness of the new danger was clear. A non-dancer, I went along. The culprit had laconic eyes of muscle, torso, and was dripping with energy. The direct gaze with which he met me and shook hands was a bit unsettling. Squatting on a high, uncomfortable chair in a clouded cell, electrocuted with deafening Western music, I watched the two dancing. Preeti stretching out her arms like Jesus on the cross, and Brian tangoing with matching verve. His shoulder-length hair winged out with each lusty movement he made. It was impossible to imagine Preeti's parents accepting this man as their son-in-law. After I asked him to repeat for the third time his observation, which finally sounded like unstylized dance is a sign of civilization moving in reverse. His heavy American accent rendered comprehension more difficult. I was grateful when he decided on silence for both of us.
Flirting with the mind amounted to nothing. Only the body mattered. A dam broke within me, washing away the boundaries I'd set for myself. You mean you haven't touched me? But I couldn't stop myself. In the grip of some elemental power, possessed by a strange sense of exhilaration, this was the last of the joys left to one at the end of a relationship. Posing questions one was not brave enough to ask throughout. I could ask any question and get away with it, now as I had nothing more to lose. And I was bent on ravishing this last joy, as I'd never ravished it before. Pushing him to the brink, going for the jugular. Isn't that you didn't find me attractive enough, Shekhar? Come on, be frank. How is she to look at? Fair, voluptuous, but it has to be the body.
And we are crossing the mark.
Why don't you spell it out? The basic way. The real reason why you want to marry her and hump her every night. Does she have huge, wide, tight boobs?
Fuck you.
Yes, fuck me. Bam. We are disconnected. I was shaking all over. My breath heavy and audible. I clutched the pillow hard and strained into my chest, shocked at what I had done. In my dismay, I discerned also a strand of relief. For the first time in my life, I had not accepted a walkout quietly. Not allowed a man to exit my life without granting me even the right to feel let down and abandoned. As if our intellectual intimacy, our meetings and talkings were so much fun. For the first time, I had not come away accepting those crumbs usually thrown at me. We'll always be good friends. I had reacted, expressed my fury. Shekhar would think about me tonight. I had messed up at least this one night for him. Mom was tapping the door of my room. I refused dinner, feeling a stomachache and switched off the lights. Soon, too soon, the sense of relief and elation over my tried triumph grew up. I was flooded by sadness at the realization of the end of yet another book. My long walks and talks with Shakespeare were more beautiful than ever. Images rushed upon me, piercing me with a sense of loss. To think that we'd never again engage in those long, winding conversations over endless cups of coffee in Cosby,